You move quietly through the dense undergrowth, boots pressing into soil, still damp from the night's dew. The forest around you is waking, the trees shivering with the calls of distant birds, the hum of insects, the whisper of leaves bending with the faintest breeze. You pause to listen, because in these moments the forest often tells you more than your eyes can. At first, it's nothing unusual, just the morning symphony of life. But then, faint and breaking, comes a sound that doesn't belong. A rumble, low and guttural, but broken by something softer, like desperation buried inside power. Your breath slows. You've heard lions before, their roars shaking the air, announcing dominance, staking claim. This is different. You grip your rifle, not to use, but out of instinct. You know you may not need it, but the forest demands readiness. Slowly, you step forward, your eyes cutting through shafts of sunlight slicing down between towering canopies. The sound grows clearer, pulling you like a rope. You hear the tremor inside it, a lion begging. The brush parts, and before you stands the impossible sight. A massive male lion, golden mane dulled with dust, crouched low, his amber eyes not burning with rage but heavy with pleading. He does not charge, he does not growl. He lowers himself as though bowing, and in that bow you see the rawness of desperation. Your chest tightens. A lion is not a creature that bows. They stand above, commanding. Yet here he kneels before you, the king stripped of his crown. His chest heaves, and again comes that sound. Half growl, half cry. Behind him, deeper in the thicket, you catch another voice, weak, trembling and raw with pain. You step cautiously, raising your free hand, as though your calm could translate across species. The male inches back, eyes locked on yours, then darts his head toward the sound behind him. It is a motion not of threat, but of direction. He is asking you to follow. Your pulse hammers. Every instinct screams that this is madness, that you are placing your life into the paws of something that could end it in a breath. And yet another instinct, older, quieter, presses against the fear. You recognize it, trust, you follow. Through twisting vines and sharp branches, the lion leads you. He moves in tense bursts, stopping often to look back, ensuring you are still with him. The further you go, the thicker the air feels, heavy with the stench of blood and fear. Birds scatter from branches above, their wings tearing the silence as if they too cannot bear to linger. Then you see her. In a hollow between the roots of a massive fig tree lies the lioness. Her flanks rise and fall in shallow, labored rhythm. Her golden coat is matted dark with blood along her side, a deep wound slashed open as though by tusk or claw. The earth beneath her glistens red. The male lowers beside her, nudging her head with his own, a soft moan escaping his throat. She answers weakly, her paw twitching as though reaching for him, for you, for anything that can stop the darkness pulling her down. Your body stiffens at the sight. The wound is fresh but jagged. Boar tusk, perhaps, or the claws of another predator. You kneel, your hands trembling, not from fear of the lions, but from the enormity of what is being asked of you. They are not your charges. You are not a vet. Yet here you are, the only line between life and death. The male stares at you, his eyes burning with a force more powerful than command. It is plea, it is prayer. He begged you here, and now his entire world rests in your hands. You draw in a sharp breath. Somewhere deep inside, you feel the forest itself shift, its chorus pausing, as though holding its breath with you. This moment is not just survival, it is covenant. You have been chosen, demanded, begged by the very king of beasts. And you know now you cannot walk away. You pull your satchel around, the one you never patrol without. Inside are only the most basic supplies, gauze, antiseptic, a needle, thread. They were meant for men, for rangers, for hunters. Never for this. But you will make them mean something more. You approach slowly, letting the lioness see you, smell you. Her eyes flicker open, cloudy with pain, but in them you find no rejection. Only exhaustion, surrender. She does not fight. She lets you kneel beside her. The male presses close, his massive frame quivering, his mane brushing against your arm, as though urging you to hurry, to act, to save. His breath is hot on your neck, his growl constant but restrained. like thunder rolling but refusing to break. You begin to work. The wound is deep, the bleeding heavy, but not beyond hope. You press gauze, your hands slick with her blood, the scent of iron thick in the air. Every movement feels like defiance of nature, like trespassing into a realm no human was meant to touch. And yet, guided by something greater, you continue. The lioness whimpers softly, her body jolting at each sting of antiseptic. You whisper, not words she can understand, but tones she might. Gentle, steady, promising that she is not alone. You feel the weight of the male's gaze drilling into you, every heartbeat asking, will she live? Will you save her? The world narrows. There is no forest, no sky, no life beyond this hollow beneath the fig tree. Only your hands, her wound, and his eyes. Time fractures, stretching into eternity, as though the forest has bent itself to this single thread of fate. And as the bleeding slows, as the wound begins to close beneath crude stitches, you realize something terrifying and undeniable. This is not just survival. This is not chance. This is a lion, a king, begging a man, begging you to save the only life that matters to him. And you did not say no. Your hands ache from the force of holding the wound shut, from the trembling that tries to escape your control. The lioness's breath shudders against your palm, each exhale weaker than the last. You knot the final stitch, your crude work holding back the tide of crimson. For a moment, the hollow falls into silence. No birds, no wind, only the sound of her shallow breathing and the deep, low rumble of the male lion standing guard beside you. He has not left your side, not even for a heartbeat. Every time your hands trembled, every time the lioness whimpered, he lowered his head closer, as though his presence alone could steady the storm raging through her. His mane grazes your arm once more, his body radiating heat, the power of a creature that could end you in seconds, yet chooses instead to shield you. You draw back, blood staining your shirt and arms, your heart pounding like a drum. The gauze you pressed into her side is soaked, but the bleeding has slowed. She will not rise yet, but she is not slipping away, at least not now. You exhale for the first time in what feels like an eternity. The lion lifts his head, amber eyes locking with yours. For a brief moment, the forest is no longer predator and human, no longer hunter and ranger. You feel something older, something unspoken, recognition. He knows you fought for her. He knows you gave her time. And still, he stares at you, not with relief, but with urgency. Because the wound itself is not the terror. The wound is only the symptom. You glance around the hollow, noting the disturbed earth, the heavy drag marks, the scatter of broken branches. The blood trail does not begin here. She crawled, she fled. Something pursued her, something powerful enough to slash through her flank and drive the king himself to plead before you. You rise slowly, wiping your hands against the grass, your mind racing. The forest is too quiet now, its silence a heavy warning. You scan the shadows between the trees, each one thick enough to hide death. The lion's ears twitch, his muscles tightening, his body lowering to a crouch. He knows it too. You hear it then, a low guttural snarl that vibrates through the air like iron scraping stone. From the undergrowth ahead, movement stirs. The branches bending, the leaves shivering violently as though something far heavier than the wind forces its way through. The male lion roars, a sound so thunderous it shakes your bones. But this roar is not dominance, it is warning. A declaration to you, to the forest, to the creature lurking just beyond sight. He will not yield. You step back toward the lioness, instinct pulling you to shield her, though you know your presence is a fragile barrier compared to the beast standing before you. Still, you grip the rifle slung at your side, hands slick with blood and sweat. You do not want to fire, not here, not in their sanctuary, but you know you may have no choice. The brush splits, and out lumbers the nightmare. A massive boar, tusks curved like daggers, its hide torn and scarred from countless battles. Its eyes burn red with fury, its body heaving with rage. It snorts, stamping the ground, earth spraying beneath its hooves. Blood still clings to one tusk, the same blood now drying along the lioness's flank. This is the reason, the terror that forced the king of beasts to bow to a man. The lion snarls, stepping forward, muscles rippling as he places himself between you and the beast. His mane bristles, his body shakes with fury. The boar answers, its screech splitting the air, and the ground seems to shudder beneath the clash of their fury. You feel the forest lean closer, its silence breaking into chaos as birds explode from the treetops, monkeys screech from branches, and smaller creatures scatter in frantic rustles. The duel is inevitable. The boar charges. The impact shakes the hollow, tusks scraping against claw, dust clouding the air. The lion roars, his body colliding with the beast's, their strength tearing through soil and root alike. You stumble back, shielding the lioness, your breath catching as the fight unfolds like a storm unleashed. The lion's claws rip across the boar's thick hide, blood spraying into the air. But the boar's tusk slashes back, catching the lion's shoulder, drawing another roar of pain. The two giants crash together again, neither willing to yield, both bound by something greater than survival, vengeance, protection, love. You watch, helpless and awestruck, as the forest itself seems to tremble with their fury. Every clash of claw and tusk is a thunderclap, every roar a lightning strike. The male fights not for himself, but for the lioness still trembling at your side. You glance at her. Her eyes are open now, wide and fearful, fixed not on her wound, but on him. She knows, just as you do, that his fight is her final thread of life. The battle surges, the lion lunging, jaws snapping around the boar's neck. The beast thrashes, tusks gouging into the earth, nearly tossing the lion aside. You grip your rifle tighter, your instincts screaming to intervene, to fire, to end the nightmare. But another voice presses harder. If you fire, the bond between them shatters. If you fire, you strip him of his vow to her. So you wait. Dust blinds you. The clash deafens you. The scent of blood suffocates you. Yet through it all, you hear the pulse of the forest, the heartbeat of something ancient demanding you witness. Then with a roar that splits the heavens, the lion drives the boar back, forcing its body against the trunk of the fig tree. His jaws clamp tighter, his claws rake deeper until finally the beast collapses. The fight ends in a silence more deafening than the battle itself. The lion stands over the fallen boar, chest heaving, blood streaming down his mane, his shoulder torn but his eyes burning with unbroken fire. Slowly he turns back to you, to her. And in that gaze you see it again, not triumph, not pride, but plea. The wound on her side is closed for now, but without more, without something beyond what you can offer here, she will not last. The reason is not only terrifying, it is far from over. The silence after the battle is heavier than the roar of combat. Dust hangs in the air, every mote glowing in the streaks of sunlight that pierce the canopy. Your chest burns from holding your breath, from the pounding rhythm of your heart still echoing in your ears. The boar's body lies twisted and broken at the base of the fig tree, tusks still glinting with menace even in death. The lion staggers back from it, blood dripping from his shoulder, his mane matted with red. He does not collapse. Kings do not fall before their mate, but the tremor in his legs tells you how close the fight came to breaking him. His amber eyes find you again, and this time they carry a weight beyond pleading. They carry command. You must act. You hurry to the lioness, your knees sinking into the damp earth. Her eyes flicker, following him, not you. She sees the crimson staining his mane, the wound tearing across his shoulder, and a faint whimper escapes her throat. Even broken, she worries for him. You press a hand gently against her side, checking the stitches. They hold for now. The bleeding is not worsening, but her body is weak, her breath shallow, and each second she lies here, the shadow of death draws closer. You look at the male again. His body towers above you, every muscle tense, blood streaking his golden fur. He lowers himself beside her, pressing his forehead against hers. The rumble in his chest is no longer rage, but comfort, a vibration that seems to will her to stay alive. She blinks slowly, her paw twitching weakly, and presses it against his. The moment is intimate, raw, unbearably human. But you know the truth. Love alone will not keep her here. Your satchel feels pitifully light, gauze, antiseptic, crude thread. enough to close wounds, but not enough to fight the infection already seeping into her veins. If you leave her here, she will not survive the night. The thought claws at you sharper than the boar's tusks. You could walk away, say you tried, say nature must take its course. Yet every fiber of you recoils from that thought. You were begged, you were chosen. You glance around the hollow again, your mind racing. A camp is too far, help is too far. But water, yes, water could buy you time. Clean the wound, wash the blood, cool her burning skin. The river lies beyond the ridge, no more than 15 minutes if you run. 15 minutes that might decide her fate. You rise slowly, making sure the male sees. His gaze snaps to you instantly, a growl trembling at the edge of his throat. He thinks you are leaving. He thinks you are abandoning her. You raise your hands, palms out, your voice low but steady. I'll come back. Words mean nothing, but tone means everything. You repeat it, softer, calmer, until the fire in his eyes dims into something closer to trust. You back away, step by step, until the forest swallows you from their sight. Then you run. Branches whip your arms, roots snag your boots. The undergrowth tears at your clothes, but you push harder. The forest blurs around you, every sound magnified, every second stretching into eternity. You hear her ragged breaths in your mind, hear his desperate plea in your chest. You cannot fail them. At last, the river bursts into view, silver and fierce, its current rushing over jagged stones. You drop to your knees, filling the metal canteen with shaking hands. The cold spray stings your cuts, but you welcome it. Welcome the reminder that you are still here, still capable, still alive. When you turn back, the forest feels different, quieter, heavier, as though holding its breath again. You run harder, the weight of the water heavy against your chest, every heartbeat whispering that you might already be too late. The hollow appears through the trees, sunlight spilling across its floor. The lion still crouches over her, his massive body curved protectively. His ears twitch as you break through the brush, his head snapping toward you. His growl rumbles like distant thunder, but it softens when he sees the canteen. You drop beside her once more, unscrewing the lid, drenching fresh cloth, pressing it gently to her wound. The water runs red, carrying away dirt and dried blood, cooling her fevered skin. She flinches, a low cry escaping her throat, but you whisper again. Tones, not words, steady and soft. The male leans closer, his chest vibrating with that low, steady rumble of comfort. Together you calm her. You clean as much as you can, your hands steady now, guided by a clarity born of desperation. The stitches hold, the bleeding does not worsen, and the water eases her shivering. She exhales slowly, her body loosening, her breathing no longer ragged but steady, shallow, alive. For the first time, you let yourself hope. The lion shifts, settling down beside her, his flank pressed against hers. His body warmth surrounds her, his head resting gently across her neck. His eyes flick to you, still burning, but now softened with something almost impossible to name. Gratitude. You sit back against the roots of the fig tree, your arms heavy, your body aching. The battle, the running, the blood, it all crashes down on you at once. And yet, despite the exhaustion, you cannot look away. Because this is not simply survival. This is not simply a ranger saving a wounded animal. This is something older, something carved into the marrow of the earth itself. The king of beasts bowed to you, begged you, trusted you with his world. And you answered. But as the forest slowly resumes its song, the chirp of insects, the chatter of distant birds, you feel the shadow still lingering. The boar is dead, but scars of its presence linger. Predators sense weakness, and blood carries far in this jungle. Others will come, and you realize with a cold certainty that tonight will be the true test. Not just whether she can endure her wound, but whether you can protect them both from what the forest will send next. You glance at the fading light above, the sun slipping lower, shadows stretching long across the hollow. The jungle does not forgive weakness, and darkness is its most merciless hour. You grip the rifle tighter. Tonight, the begging will not be silent. Tonight, you will be the one pleading for time, for strength, for survival. The forest changes as the sun slides beneath the horizon. Shadows stretch into giants, swallowing the hollow in layers of black and gold. The air thickens, the heat of the day traded for a damp chill that clings to your skin. Every sound sharpens, the rustle of leaves, the shriek of a distant bird, the faint crack of branches far beyond sight. You crouch near the lioness, the rifle resting across your lap, every sense on edge. Her breathing is shallow, her flank rising and falling unevenly. The stitches hold, but fever burns through her body, heat radiating into the night air. You press a damp cloth against her forehead again, hoping the river's coolness lingers, hoping it buys you hours she may not otherwise have. Beside her, the male lion does not move. His body is curled protectively, his mane brushing against her side, his eyes scanning the forest with relentless vigilance. The gash on his shoulder seeps blood, but he ignores it. His strength is not his own tonight. It is borrowed from the fire in his chest, from his refusal to let her slip into darkness. You watch him closely, the way his ears twitch with every sound, the way his chest rumbles with low growls at shadows that move only in imagination. He will not rest. He will not falter, and you realize neither can you. The night grows heavier. A chorus of insects swells, their song weaving through the canopy like a warning. Frogs croak in hidden pools, their voices echoing off unseen stone. The forest never sleeps, but it does change. Nocturnal predators stir, drawn by scent, by weakness, by the iron tang of blood still clinging to the air. You hear the first sign, a branch snapping in the distance. Not the careless break of a monkey, not the soft scurry of a rodent, heavier, deliberate. You tense, your grip tightening on the rifle. The male lion rises halfway, his mane bristling, his tail lashing the earth. The sound fades. Silence returns. But you know it is only the beginning. The lioness stirs, her body trembling, her head shifting weakly against the soil. Her eyes flicker open, glazed with fever, and she exhales a fragile, broken breath. You lean closer, whispering again, tones steady, calming. She blinks at you, not with understanding, but with trust. Somehow, impossibly, she accepts you at her side. The male lowers his head, nuzzling her gently, his breath hot against her ear. The vibration of his chest fills the hollow, a rumble meant to comfort her, to remind her she is not alone. You realize he is not only protecting her from predators, he is protecting her from fear itself. The minutes drag into hours. The moon rises pale and watchful, its silver glow filtering through the canopy. The jungle glistens in its light, every leaf dripping with dew, every shadow sharper than the last. You fight against fatigue, every blink heavier, every muscle aching. Yet you do not sleep. You cannot. Then you hear it again, closer. A low snarl, followed by the shuffle of paws across dry leaves. A gleam in the darkness beyond the hollow, faint but unmistakable. Hyenas, your blood chills. You've faced them before. Scavengers with jaws that can crack bone, hunters that thrive on weakness. They have smelled the blood, followed the trail, and now they circle. Their laughter pierces the night, high-pitched, mocking, a sound that grates against your nerves like steel. The male lion roars, the sound erupting from his chest with earth-shattering force. The hollow trembles, the forest falls silent for a heartbeat, but the laughter returns, echoing from multiple sides. They are many. You rise to your feet, rifle raised, your heart hammering against your ribs. The lioness whimpers, her body shifting as though even her dreams are haunted by the sound. The male steps forward, mane glowing silver under the moon, his body a wall between her and the predators closing in. The first hyena steps into the light, its body lean and scarred, its grin twisted and cruel. Behind it shadows move, 3, 4, perhaps more. Their eyes shine like fireflies, hungry, waiting. You raise the rifle, finger brushing the trigger. A single shot could scatter them, buy you time. But the lion growls low, stepping forward again. This is his battle, his law, his kingdom. The hyenas advance, their laughter rising, echoing through the hollow like the voices of demons. The lion charges, his roar tearing through the night, his claws raking the earth. The hyenas scatter, yelping, darting back into the shadows, but they do not retreat. They circle, always circling, waiting for weakness, waiting for him to tire. You fire into the air. The shot cracks like thunder, splitting the silence, the recoil jolting through your arms. The forest explodes with chaos, birds shrieking from branches, monkeys screaming in terror. The hyenas retreat farther into the dark, their laughter fading but not gone. Not defeated, only delayed. The lion returns to the hollow, his chest heaving, his eyes burning. He does not look at you, not directly, but you know he felt it. The shot was not against him, but for him. A fragile alliance between king and ranger, bound by the lioness lying broken in the roots of the fig tree. Hours crawl past. The hyenas do not return, but their absence feels temporary, like the eye of a storm. You sit back against the tree, your rifle across your lap, your body trembling with exhaustion. The lion curls against the lioness again, pressing his warmth into her, his eyes never closing. The night deepens, the stars wheeling silently above. You listen to her breathing, still shallow, still fragile but steady. Each rise of her chest is a victory, each exhale a defiance of death. You realize then that you're no longer a ranger on patrol. You are no longer just a man with a satchel and a rifle. You are the line between her survival and the darkness of the forest. And beside you, a king shares that burden, his roar and your fire weaving together into a fragile shield. As dawn begins to whisper at the edge of the horizon, pale light stretching into the hollow, you know this night has not ended the trial. It has only delayed it. The lioness still burns with fever. The hyenas will return, and something deeper, something you cannot yet name, waits in the heart of the jungle. The first light of dawn stretches through the canopy, turning the forest into a cathedral of gold and shadow. The air smells of wet soil and blood, of life and death intertwined. You lean forward, your body aching from a night without sleep, your ears still echoing with the hyena's laughter. The hollow feels calm for now, but you know it is the kind of calm that breaks too easily. The lioness lies curled against the roots, her fur damp with sweat. When you touch her flank, you feel the heat radiating like fire beneath her skin. The wound is closed, but infection creeps unseen, clawing through her body. Her breath rattles, shallow and uneven, each inhale dragging like a stone pulled uphill. She has survived the night, but morning brings no relief, only the next trial. Beside her, the male lion remains rigid. His mane glows in the sunlight, breaking through the trees, but his body is slumped with exhaustion. His shoulder bleeds slowly from the gash torn by the boar. He should rest, but he does not. He watches the forest with eyes that burn, refusing to surrender even a moment to sleep. You press the damp cloth against the lioness again, wishing you had more. Antibiotics, proper tools, the sterile precision of a clinic. But here you have only thread, gauze, water, and time slipping through your hands. You murmur in low tones, your words meaningless to her but steady enough to carry weight. She stirs faintly, her eyes flickering open, pupils wide and clouded. She searches for him, not you. Her paw shifts weakly until it brushes his mane. The moment her touch finds him, he lowers his head, pressing against her, and a soft rumble fills the hollow. You realize with a jolt that it is not only strength that binds her to life. It is him. Her fight is tethered to his presence. The sun climbs higher, its warmth scattering across the forest floor. The sounds of the jungle change. Birds sing brighter, monkeys chatter in the distance, and yet the undercurrent of unease remains. The hyenas may have fled, but they are not gone. Scavengers return. Always. You weigh your choices. Staying here means holding ground, defending them both until she recovers, or until the forest swallows her. Moving her means risking death on the path, her wound tearing open, her body failing under strain. You stare at the fig tree's roots, at the way she lies cradled within them, as though the forest itself has offered sanctuary. But sanctuary is fragile when predators are drawn by blood. The male lion growls low, ears flicking toward the underbrush. You hear it too, a rustle too deliberate to be the wind. You tighten your grip on the rifle, your finger brushing the trigger. But the sound fades again, leaving only silence and your pounding heart. The forest is watching. You glance at the lioness once more, her chest heaving, her breath trembling. She cannot stay here forever. If infection tightens its grip, she will fade. If predators return in greater numbers, even he cannot hold them off alone. You close your eyes, drawing in a deep breath. The decision is heavy, but there is no choice. She must move. You must guide them out of this hollow, closer to safety, closer to help, even if the journey tears you all apart. You rise slowly, carefully making sure the lion sees. His amber eyes snap to you instantly, his body tensing as though he expects abandonment again. You lift your hands, palms open, and speak in the same calm tones as before. Not leaving, helping. The words are nothing, but your tone carries meaning. You move to the lioness, kneeling beside her, sliding your hands beneath her flank. She whimpers weakly, her body twitching against the intrusion of movement. The male snarls, a thunderous sound that shakes your ribs, but he does not strike. His body quivers, torn between rage and trust, and finally he lowers his head close to hers. As though telling you, do what must be done. You brace yourself, lifting her carefully. She is heavier than you imagined, her body limp but trembling, her heat scorching against your arms. The stitches pull, blood seeps faintly through. But she does not scream, only exhales a long, broken breath. The male follows instantly, every step shadowing yours, his body brushing yours, close enough that his growl vibrates through your bones. Step by step, you carry her from the hollow, the forest closing in around you. Sunlight flickers through, the canopy, painting your path in shards of light and shadow. The ground shifts unevenly beneath your boots, roots twisting like traps, but you do not falter. Each step is heavier, your muscles burning, your breath ragged. The lion's growls follow you, steady and sharp, his mane brushing your side, his body an unyielding shield against the unseen eyes in the trees. You hear them sometimes, branches creaking, leaves rustling, but nothing emerges. The forest knows what walks now, a man burdened and a king guarding. Minutes stretch into eternity. Your arms ache, your vision blurs, but you press forward. The lioness stirs faintly, her head shifting against your chest. Her eyes open briefly, cloudy, unfocused, but they settle on him. He leans close, his breath warm against her ear, and a low rumble vibrates through her body. She exhales, calmer, surrendering again to the fragile thread of life. Finally, you reach a clearing where the sunlight floods the earth, grass stretching high, the river's shimmer visible in the distance. You lower her carefully onto the grass, your arms trembling with relief. The male circles once, scanning the trees before lowering beside her, his body pressing against hers as though to anchor her to the earth. You collapse onto your knees, chest heaving, sweat and blood streaking your face. Every muscle screams, every nerve trembles, but inside your chest something steadies. You moved her. She is closer now, to water, to life, to safety. The lion lifts his head, his gaze burning into yours. You see it again, the weight of trust, the command, the plea. You saved her once in the hollow, you carried her here, but the fight is not over. The infection rages, the predators circle, and the forest waits to test you again. As the sun climbs, ire, blazing above the canopy, you realize this truth. The day will not be easier than the night. The jungle is never merciful, and still, you know, you cannot stop now. Daylight strips the forest of its mystery, but it does not strip danger. The clearing feels exposed now, a stage set beneath the sun where every scent travels farther and every sound announces itself with cruel clarity. You move with purposeful slowness, tending to the lioness as if each touch might peel her back from the edge. You clean the wound again, tamping fresh cloth into the slit, pulling at the crude stitches to tighten where they loosened in the carry. Her skin is hot beneath your fingers. Infection creeps like a shadow beneath tissue. You press harder, as if pressure alone can staunch more than blood. The lion watches your hands with a focus bordering on fury. When you work, he leans forward, his body taut like a bowstring, ready to explode if any threat approaches. You sense his attention as a tangible thing, thick in the air, and you are grateful for it and frightened by it. He will not allow anyone to touch her in anger. He will kill if he must. You tear strips from your shirt to fashion better bandages, wrap them tight, knotting until your fingers ache. The makeshift dressing will not replace real medicine, but it will buy hours. Hours may be enough. Hours are everything. As you work, vultures circle above, black against the blue, riding thermals with the patience of death. Their presence is an accusation. They know blood. They smell weakness. Your stomach twists both at their circles and at the unasked question, how long before more of the jungle converges on this scent? You look to the tree line, movement, small at first, then more definite, shadows shifting, a wavering of tall grass. Not the scattered approach of hyenas, this is precise, coalescing. You glance at the male, his ears flatten, a low rumble building in his chest. He stands like a fortress, mane bristling, every muscle coiled. This is not a raid of scavengers. This is something else, something that knows how to wait. The lead shape steps into a shaft of light, and you see a line of eyes, coal black, focused. A pack of wild dogs, lean and driven, their ribs like armor beneath taut skin. They move in, disciplined silence, their jaws stained with the ghosts of previous kills. You have seen them take down prey larger than themselves through sheer coordination. They do not fear the lion because they do not attack alone or by chance. They test, they probe, and they strike where weakness shows. The male roars, a raw, detonating sound. The dogs pause, some lowering their heads, others bristling. They circle, patient predators with a strategy. One steps forward, its gaze fixed on the lioness. Hunger sharpens its muzzle into a grin. The sun glints on its teeth. You weigh your options like stones in your palm. Run and carry her further toward help, risking collapse en route. Hold ground and fight, risking being overtaken by numbers. Your body is spent, your choices thin to two. The male paces, his shoulders working, his teeth bared. He looks to you as if asking, if a lion can ask, what you will do. You answer with movement, not words. You will stand. You place yourself where you can move between the lioness and any threat, rifle ready though your hands shake. The dogs surge forward in a coordinated dart, fast, jagged. The male leaps, and the clearing becomes a thunder of brown and gold, teeth and fur. The dogs use their speed, darting in to nip at heels, snapping at flanks, trying to draw the lion out. He counters with raw power, slamming body into body, jaws clamping and releasing, bearing the stings of many mouths. One dog bites his shoulder, where the boar once tore him, and he howls, raw, aching, but does not collapse. Another circles your side, eyes calculating. You swing the rifle, firing low into the dirt behind it. The blast throws dirt and leaves into the air, and for a heartbeat the dogs hesitate. The male uses that beat to drive them back, clamping one by the scruff and flinging it aside. Blood sprays like a perverse rain. The fight stretches, a tangle of fur and tooth that eats minutes like a beast eats meat. Your arms ache from holding the rifle. Your ears ring from the constant assault of snarls and roars. You are breached. Twice, lunging to pull a dog from the lion's flank with a desperate kick, fists finding fur where you can. Panic nips at your ankles, but you press on. Driven by a clarity the forest carved into you, retreat means death for her. The male is bleeding deeper now. The dogs are relentless. One of them, bold and cunning, darts toward the lioness, calculating to take the final chance if the male falters. You lunge, tackling the dog, rolling in the dirt. It snaps at your arm, teeth grazing skin, burning with pain. The world narrows to the steam of blood and the thump of your heart. You throw the dog off, push it back, and shout until your voice breaks. Something inside the pack falters at that sound. Human defiance cuts differently. The dogs pull back, dragging their wounded. They circle at the fringe, tired, hurt, their discipline wearing thin. The male roars once more, a dominion claim threaded. With agony, and the dogs finally retreat into the tree line, vanishing like a bad dream swallowed by shadow. You collapse, muscles gone, throat raw. The male flops beside you, his sides heaving, eyes glassy with pain. He presses his head against your knee for the first time, not for dominance, not for command, but in a raw, vulnerable gesture of gratitude. You understand then that whatever bond has formed is no accident. It is hammered by blood and forged in shared struggle. Her breath is steady but shallow. The stitches hold. The forest quiets as if exhausted by its own violence. Vultures lift, higher, still circling, but they no longer incline toward the clearing. You have bought time, time that might be enough or only a delay before the next trial. You lean your forehead against the male's flank, feeling the tremor that runs through him. Pain and exhaustion hum beneath the surface, but so does a stubborn life force that refuses to die. You close your eyes, counting breaths, the lions, the lionesses, your own, measuring survival in rhythm. Outside, the forest moves on. Predators sharpen their patience, scavengers file away like vultures from a carcass, and somewhere beyond the trees life continues, indifferent and exacting. You have held the line. You have answered a king's desperate plea with your own stubbornness. For now, the reason that terrified you has not ended in tragedy. For now, she breathes. You sit in the hollow as the sun tilts low, the fight behind you dissolving into bruised quiet. The jungle exhales, soft bird calls, the rustle of leaves, a distant river's hush, small sounds like a slow return to order. The lion and lioness lie close, bodies cooling, breaths evening into a steady, forgiving rhythm. Your hands shake, but the tremor is softer now, the edge dulled by the knowledge that you kept a promise no one else could have kept. Breathe in. Feel the damp earth beneath you, solid and patient. Breathe out. Let the tension uncoil from your shoulders. You held a life with your bare hands, and it held you back in return. There is no triumph here, only the quiet fact of survival. A pulse that continues, a warmth against the skin, the shared long exhale of beings who refuse to surrender. Stay present in that breath. Let the forest's small sounds stitch the wound in your nerves. The night will come again with its tests, but for this thin, fragile moment, the world has given you a reprieve. Rest while you can. Gather your strength. When dawn leans its first light over the canopy, you will rise, wary and ready, because now you belong to something larger than the path you once walked alone.